Hi everyone, welcome to Red Fox Sewing and Crafting, and welcome to my craft room. I'm Joanna. So today we are going to make this cute little album here. Got some side pockets, some flaps, a little waterfall here, and as usual, going to start with the cover. So you will need 2 pieces of chipboard that are 7 1/4 by 5 1/4, and a piece of chipboard that is 2 by 7 1/4. And then for your cardstock, you'll need 2 pieces that are 7 1/4 by 9 1/4, and 1 piece is 5 by 9 1/4. So I cover my chipboard with score tape here, and we're just going to center our chipboard on our cardstock. So with the 5 1/4 by 7 1/4 chipboard pieces, you'll want 1 inch on all 4 sides. And I have a tool that helps me keep it in the center, get it lined up. And then with our 2 by 7 1/4, you want 1.5 inches on both sides, and then 1 inch on the top and bottom. So with all my pieces, I like to fold on all 4 sides, and then I'm going to take my burnishing tool or my bone folder and just run it along all the edges of the chipboard. And then with the spine, you have these corner pieces that got folded, and you just want to cut from corner to corner like that. So I'm going to take my scissors and just cut from corner to corner like that. And I'm going to do that to all 4 sides, like this. I'm going to grab some score tape, and I'm just going to put it on the top and the bottom. Just like this. Then you're going to want your glue, and you're just going to run your glue about 1/2 inch to 1 inch on both sides like this, and then along the top like that. And then you want to fill in this whole piece like that. I'm going to take my burnishing tool and burnish my cardstock along the chipboard, and then I can push the cardstock on top and then burnish it along the two edges of my chipboard so that I get a nice stick. Just like this. And now we can do the other side the same exact way. And then your piece will look like this. I'm going to flip this over and re-burnish the four corners. And I'm going to take my scissors and starting at the corner of my chipboard, I'm going to make a slight angle cut like that. And then your piece should look like this. Now I am going to take some score tape and put it about 1/8 to 1/4 inch away from my chipboard on the fully covered side. Just like this. So now we can set this off to the side and we can work on our cover. So it's going to start the same way. Just going to fold our cardstock around our chipboard, and then we're going to burnish all four sides. This time though, instead of cutting diagonally, this is how I'm going to cut it. Going to make a slight miter about halfway in and then cut straight to the corner of my chipboard like that. So once it's cut out, it'll look like this. And we're just going to do that to all four corners. Sorry about my dogs. They will bark at anything and everything. Okay, now that our corners are cut out, again, I'm going to add score tape. This time I'm going to put score tape on all four sides. Just like this. And then, just to make it easier for myself, I like to remove the backing of all four of my score tape pieces. And if you are using score tape and it goes over the edge, you could just push it on top of itself and it will be perfectly fine. So we're going to start with the longer two sides. I'm going to add a little bit of glue to the edge of the chipboard like that. And then burnish the cardstock against the chipboard, and then just going to push it on top of the chipboard and rub it to stick it down like that. I'm going to do the opposite side. And then the top and bottom. Just like so. And then I like to flip it around and then check my corners to see if any cardstock is poking out. And if it is, I'm just going to go in with my scissors and snip it off. My other corners look pretty good, so I can set this off to the side and work on my second one. I will do that, and then we will come back to put it together. So my pieces are done, so now I'm going to put them together. I have my first piece, and I'm just going to write top on the top of this. And then with my spine, I'm going to put glue on the score tape and on the edge of the cardstock. I'm not putting any right next to the chipboard. And then you just want to push against everything so that it's all lined up as best you can. And I like to lightly tack it down and then fold it over just to see if it's lining up the way I want it. Once I'm happy with it, I can just burnish it down really good. And then I'm going to flip this around and put the second piece on. So again, a little bit of glue on score tape in the edge of the cardstock and pushing everything in the corner as best you can, and then lightly tack it down to check to make sure that it's lined up the way you want it, and then burnish it down. Now we are going to be adding pockets to the inside cover. So my top is going to be covered up. So before I do anything else with my cover, I'm going to put paper on the front. So I cut a piece of pattern paper. Well, this is solid paper. I cut a piece that is 7 1/8 by 5 1/8. So I'm just going to glue it on here. Gonna glue it to the front. Oops. Now I will remember that this is my front. To cover up our spine, we will need a piece that is here it is. We need a piece that is 6 by 7 1/8. And I'm going to really quick cover this with some score tape. Now, if you don't want to use score tape, you do not have to. I just find that it works better for me to use score tape and glue. So now I can remove the backing of all my score tape. I'm going to bring my cover in, add some glue all over the back of the spine cover, and I'm going to center this as best as I can, just like that. Then I'm going to burnish it really good. I'm going to take my bone folder here and find the crease where the front meets the spine and just slowly fold the front down. And I'm making sure to not put too much pressure on the paper to cut it. I'm just lightly burnishing it over and over again to get it to fold. So then it'll look like this. I'm going to add some paper to my spine here, the inside. So that when I have my pages done, I could just add them in. And this piece of paper, this piece of pattern paper, is cut to 2 inches by 7 1/8. For the pockets, the cover pockets, you'll need 2 pieces that are 5 3/4 by 8 1/4, and you'll need 2 pieces that are 6 by 7. So we're going to grab our scoreboards out, and with the 2 6 by 7s, you want the 7 inches at the top, and we are going to score at 2.5 inches. And then with our 5 1/4 by 8 1/4 inch pieces, we want to start with the 8 1/4 at the top, and we're going to score it 1/2 inch, turn, 1/2 inch, turn, 1/2 inch. Again, 8 1/4 at the top, 1/2 inch, turn, 1/2 inch, turn, and 1/2 inch. So we are going to burnish on all of our score marks that we have made. With our 2 inserts, we are going to take some magnets, and I'm going to put them on the outside of my inserts. I'm going to grab some score tape to help me with this. With the first piece, I'm just going to find a good spot on the smaller flap and then stick it down. I'm going to flip it around. Grab a magnet, put it on the back, and once it finds its partner, I'm going to add score tape to the top of it. Then flaps will stay closed. Now we're going to set that up to the side, and we're going to work on our pockets. These are going to need to be mitered, so we're going to miter the top 2 corners. And then we're going to miter out the bottom 2 squares. So it'll look like this. We want to do that to both pockets. And then score tape on all the tabs. And now we can add these to our cover. So we're going to start with the bottom of one. Just add glue to your tab. And then you want to line the bottom score mark with the edge of the, or with the seam of your album, and you don't want to go over. So what I like to do is put it where I want. Make sure that it's lined up really well. Stick it down and then lift it up. And it looks pretty good. Not having many issues with it. So I'm going to grab some Scotch tape. Tape down the tab that we just put down, and then tape down the spine cover, and then we can put the sides down. Just like so. And then we can slide one of our inserts in like that. And you will have your insert poking out slightly just because our pocket is right at the edge of the chipboard. But that is perfectly fine. So now we're going to add our second one. And there you go. Got both pockets in, and we have our inserts placed in our pockets. So that is how to make the cover of the album. Next video will show how to make the pages. See you there. Bye.